I'm going to try and pronounce this right. Konnichiwa. I think of something in Asia. I don't really know many Asian languages. That's not the only. I know some words in Punjabi or Hindi, but they're not family friendly. They're not very clean words. So anyway, I'm just going to check I'm live on Facebook as well. I am. I loaded quite quickly Facebook today. Yeah, I'm going to try and pronounce this correctly. Once again, how's it go? Brain's gone. Konnichiwa, I think it is in Japanese. I think that's greetings or something. But anyway, yeah. I can barely speak English, so I don't want to learn any other languages. But sticking to the theme of Asia, by the way, sorry, it's your boy M.K.S back here with another video. I thought today, as it's a 4th, and I want to focus on Asia, I thought as it's May the 4th even, I thought May the 4th be with you. In this case, May the 4th be with Asia. And as much as I'd love to bless the whole world, I'd love to be a blessing to the world, I'd love for the world to be blessed and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'd love to be a blessing to the world, and I'd love for the world to be blessed. I'd especially love to bless Asia, and I wish that God would bless Asia, even though I'm not that religious, but I do believe in God. Paranoia, which I normally say. But yeah, so if God answers prayers, I pray for God to bless Asia, and really the whole world, but especially Asia. And I'd love to promote Asian projects. So yeah, I actually meant to say Konnichiwa. It's your boy M.K.S back in another video, and today I want to focus on my plans for empowering Asia, supporting Asian projects and all that kind of thing. And I thought I'd do it in my usual list form. So these are pointers number 1 to 10. Finally got around to it. It's already about 5:30 here, but here goes. So number 1, I'd love for Asia to unite through the M.K.S Asian Alliance, or M.K.S I put in brackets because that could be included or not. So it's I want to call it the Asian Alliance, but sometimes I call it the M.K.S Asian Alliance because it's something I thought of, which I suppose I thought of alliance instead of union, because a union could get mixed up with the African Union with the acronym AU. I was conscious about repeating a lot of things as usual, but I thought, I wonder if I don't mention it, will people notice, or say it's an innocent mistake or an honest mistake or whatever. If I can come up with new ideas, but I guess I have very narrow interests, and I guess these ideas are what I'm passionate about. To be honest, I think most things in life feel like a chore or an errand or a task or a bore, or chore / errand task / bore. But yeah, well, that makes sense. But there's a few things I enjoy, like walking, I guess, to see, playing football, stuff like that. Well, a bit out of shape, but yeah, I love to promote Asian projects and like for Asia to unite as much as possible. I dream, as I say, and I wish for all of Asia to come together and be blessed. I wonder if they worked together almost like one country. Obviously, by far, it'd be the most populated country. I mean, it's the most populated continent already, but what they could achieve. And also, I'd love to find out about and celebrate and support, not that they need much of my support, but like Asian entrepreneurs, including millionaires and billionaires. And I'd love for Asia to host events to invite millionaires and billionaires to Asia, that kind of thing, to talk about what could contribute to the content. Events where millionaires and so-called billionaires can meet up and network and connect together. Point number 2, I would love to see, as I say, I'd love to support Asian projects and find out how I can best do that and put my ideas into action and help people from Asia to put their ideas into action and realize their dreams and that kind of thing. Again, I'd love for them to be blessed, as they may the 4th be with them and that kind of thing. I would love for Asian nations to learn about each other and from each other and see what they can learn from the rest of the world and what the rest of the world can learn from them. And for people to try like Asian foods, drinks and products generally and that kind of thing, and see how they can export their products, see how they can learn to export their products and that kind of thing. Also, I'd love to promote the Asian movie and music industries and celebrate things like, given my use of alliterations as it's a Monday, like things with them like Asian models, the Asian movie industry, the Asian music industry, and things like that. And I suppose they could collaborate together. Like I think it'd be cool if like Chinese and Indian or Malaysian and Indian, or Malaysian and Chinese, or whatever, and movie producers and directors generally from across Asia could collaborate on projects. And also, like talking about music and movies, they could be like the music that's used in certain movies could um, be collaborated. So an Asian music producer or director or whatever, or an Asian musician could write the music and the songs for uh, the music slash songs, sorry, for Asian movies and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'd love to see for people to share ideas on, like, in the comments on how to um, and maybe make your own videos more coherent than me, which I'm not saying much, but maybe do reaction videos to this if you want. I'd appreciate that. In fact, especially if you link them in the comments, as I say, in the description. But yeah, to on ideas on how to promote Asian projects like Asian movies, music, models, and products generally. Sorry, and products as well. Sorry, I mean to describe models as products. Clumsy communication, but promoting Asian produce and products and all that kind of thing. Look at how they can export more. Moving on, number 3, I love to promote libertarianism across Asia. Now, one of the things I think they could do, and I suppose Dubai actually is an example of this and what they did. I think now Turkey's trying to take their place. Obviously, I look Turkish, but I think it's a shame what happened to Dubai with the war going on in Iran and how it's affected them. For those who don't know, basically, because they had American bases, they got attacked by Iran. So that has affected, like, a lot of the rich, a lot of the wealthy have left the country, and it's become illegal apparently to record things about the war in Dubai. But which is a shame from their point of view, of course. I do feel quite bad for them. And before the incident happened, I thought if I was entrepreneurial, I'd want to go to Dubai, but obviously I didn't foresee this war. But yeah, the reason why I mention that is because, like, if they offer lower taxes and things like that, I also, I suppose I could have said in point number 2 or even point number 1, could have, should have, as they say. But how can they deregulate industries and make it easier to do business? How can Asian nations make it easier for their own people to do business, and also for foreigners, people from overseas to do business or whatever? But I'd love to promote, I would say, libertarianism generally. But I think if they deregulate industries, deregulate the market, and offer lower taxes as incentives, and access to markets and things like that, hopefully that could benefit them. And they could look at different ways to do that and what has and hasn't worked for other nations, whether that's Asian or other nations outside of Asia as well. I support libertarianism because I want people to be as free as possible to make their own decisions, whether we agree with them or not, within reason. I know there should be some rules and laws, like not stabbing or shooting people or whatever. But so that's, I've got to admit, if I'm honest, I support libertarianism from an idealistic point of view. But I think if you look back in the past, like Britain and other places, when they've tried to, even France, I think, when they've tried to increase taxes, most of their wealthy have left, and the middle class have been left with a higher tax bill. So it's passing on the burden to others. So a lot of middle class people might even say, oh, they should tax people more, and if they tax the rich, it'll be better. But if they leave, then it's again, the middle class should probably be careful what they wish for. I guess being from a barely middle class family myself, included, but I'm just saying more generally, as a side note. But moving on, number 4, as I say, I love for Asia somehow to be as united as possible, and it's hard to sort of see. I know there's a lot of division in Asia. I'd love to be able to prevent wars like between China and Taiwan, China and India, and Japan and wherever else, or across Asia generally, and for them to have each other's backs and trust each other. Also, as I say, I wish that God would bless Asia with as few illnesses or diseases, natural disasters or wars or anything like that as possible. Although if you have free will, it's up to them as well. But Asian scientists could also work on trying to prevent or at least limit the negative effects of illness, diseases, natural disasters and things like that. But I wish they had good weather and things like that were were favourable for them to grow things and be safe and things like that. They could look at how to keep their citizens safe, prevent terrorism, and work together and cooperate, hopefully. But I was thinking, if as there's seeds of division which have been planted in Asia, and I think colonialism, one of the evil things that was done under colonialism is to divide people and make them attack each other. But I think the opposite should happen when Asia, in this case, Asian nations. I think it should be similar for Africa, but obviously I'm focusing on Asia, trying to. But I think they should use that to unite together and say, what could we achieve if we united together? Like, I often think of like disputed territories, again, an Asian alliance. I would love for them to look into like disputed territories and say that's an area which was probably put there as a division. Like a lot of people from Britain made those divisions and chose borders. I'm not sure if other nations were involved or not, but they could look at what those countries like Britain did to divide them and say, let's use that to actually unite and work together, cooperate together, do counter-terror drills together, prevention of invasions together, and just general like trade, investment, learning from each other, and that kind of thing together. I think that would be pretty cool. I'd love to see a Chindian partnership, but also a more general Asian partnership as well, which I hope to come to for this month. So yeah, I hope to prevent divisions and promote peace and unity. And I was thinking, I guess what I was trying to say is, I almost forgot to say my point, jumping from point to point, but if there's, if just like the seeds of division were planted, if you plant seeds of positivity and unity, hopefully that can work. And if enough people, especially from Asia itself, and also those from the diaspora, and those with an interest in Asia, come together. I have to think it's quite ironic that I'm only half Asian, but I seem to be more about Asian unity than full-blooded Asians. But if enough people try and plant that seed of positivity and grow, hopefully, excuse the corniness of that, but hopefully that can eventually work. Hard to see, but you never know. But moving on, number 5, as I say, I love to promote Asian ambitions. I know that's one I've been talking about quite a lot this month already. Well, it's only the start of the month, but I know it's one I've mentioned quite a lot. But Asian ambitions in terms, as I say, in terms of modelling, the movie industry, the music industry, and other industries, obviously, and exporting and things like that. I often think of like India's ambitions to become a $5 or even $10 trillion economy. I'd love to see them exceed that expectation. Now with India, I wanted them to achieve becoming a $5 trillion or even a £5 trillion economy by the end of 2025. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, but I'd love to see them become a $10 trillion economy by 2030, if not before even. It'd be amazing to exceed their own expectations. But if they work instead of working against each other, if they work with China might have some ambitions like about tackling poverty or growing their economy at a certain rate or whatever it might be. I suppose they probably don't want to overgrow. A lot of time, in my naivety, I think like you can grow so much, but then I guess you can overgrow as well. I mean, in my naivety, I think like, why don't they want to grow as much as possible? But I guess if it overgrows too quickly, it can cause problems. Like I often think there's no such thing as too much money, but I guess there probably is. Probably has unforeseen problems that someone as naive as me doesn't see. But yeah, Asian nations generally, the Philippines, Thailand, Taiwan, Korea, and the rest of Asia. I'd love to see as much unity as possible. I mean, I was thinking North Korea would be quite a difficult one. That's a pariah. That's a big word for me. A pariah state, and also it's often ostracized, and also it's quite a communist country. Whereas I promote libertarianism, but as I say, it would be hard to see them getting on with South Korea, for instance, or Japan or rest of Asia. But I think it would be great to see that sort of stuff, as much unity as possible. So hopefully seeing those improvements in unity and that kind of thing. But again, I love to support Asian ambition, and I love to see Asia being united and blessed and that kind of thing. Number 6, I'd love to see Asia hosting sports teams. Now, as a fan of Italian football and Celtic, I've been ahead of myself a bit, but as a fan of both of those, and to an extent even like Leicester, which is quite diverse, and Birmingham, which is also quite diverse, but mainly Italian football and Celtic, I would love to see, and again, go on my alliterations, I was saying that, although technically it's they don't start with M, but I think like AC Monza, Inter Milan, and AC Milan, and I guess Roma as well. And Italian football teams generally, I'd love for them to do tours of Asia, hopefully towards a mutual benefit. I hope it benefits those clubs and they get lots of investment and sponsorship from Asia. At the same time, I hope it benefits those Asian nations with like more tourism and developing their football, but especially their tourism industries and their businesses and their industry generally all being well. But also sports teams generally, I'd say, like Celtic. And on that note, number 7, also Celtic. And also, I know they have a hard working ethic in Asia, but I wonder if they could make life easier by uniting and working together. If they could achieve a lot more. But again, I'd love to see Italian teams like AC Monza, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Roma, and all the other Italian teams, or as many as possible, including at junior level, youth teams and school teams, and also junior and school teams and that kind of thing, and as many Italian teams as possible at all levels, having tours and having academies maybe and sports clubs across Asia as well as around the world. But again, focusing mainly on Asia, and again, same sort of thing for Celtic. And as I love for Italian football and Celtic, they have a partnership with each other as well, playing against each other. Also, I'd say LCFC, Leicester City Football Club, and possibly Birmingham as well. As I grew up in Leicester as well, and it's very diverse. That's the main reason. It's not just because I grew up there, but more so in fact because it's very diverse. Funny enough, Leicester and Birmingham, I suppose even actually London, I guess, have large Asian populations. And on that note, also how they can connect with the diaspora. And number 8, as I say, saying positive things about each other and what they love about each other. And I'd love for people to talk about the worst and the best sides of Asia, positives and negatives in Asia, and how they can improve. And again, how Asian nations could host music, movie, and sporting events and things like that, and invite wealthy people, as they like billionaires, and other entrepreneurs generally, and host those events, as many of them as possible. And I guess if they're local people, especially younger people, are in attendance, they can learn a lot from those entrepreneurs and like motivational speech. I know that already happens, but I think it could happen even more. And as I say, music and movies, and especially sports. Well, sports teams being invited, entrepreneurs being invited to Asia, maybe scientists and others as well. And also, hopefully they can teach a lot of the younger people. Also, I'd love for Asians to talk about positive things about each other's countries, about their own country and about each other's countries. Hopefully not in an arrogant or boastful or showing off way, but as I say, pride comes before a fall, talking about blessings and all that kind of thing. But I would love for them to talk about their inventions, what Asia's contributed to, what they've invented, what they've done for the world as well, generally, through science and other things, and the hard-working work ethic of Asians and that kind of thing. And hopefully, as I say, build unity and have each other's backs and want what's best for each other, and connect with their diaspora and that kind of thing. And maybe they could host anti-Nazi and anti-racism, anti-prejudice, and anti-hate events, maybe. Things like that, as I say, music and movies, sports and that kind of thing, and fundraising events through music, using music and sport to fundraise for different projects, and hosting events for Asian movie makers, producers, directors, and that kind of thing, actors and actresses, to help each other to get work or promote each other's movies and that kind of thing, or both of those things. So for the actors and actresses to get more work, and for the producers and directors to be able to sell their movies more, get a better market across Asia. And on that note, number 9, maybe, as I say, I'd love to support Asian projects more generally, and businesses, and see how they can export more, and look at what their priorities are and how they could work on their aims and ambitions as individuals and as nations, and promote each other's projects, try each other's foods, drinks, and things like that. Maybe learn each other's languages. I'm too lazy to learn any languages myself, but to learn each other's languages, try each other's foods and snacks, and watch each other's movies and music, and again, maybe collaborate on some projects. And number 10, I'd love to support and empower and uplift young Asian people, so empower the youth. And I think I'm going to leave around it up on this point. I often say, if I'm honest, I know I'm very repetitive, so please forgive me for that, but one of the things about Asia is, like they say, similar with Africa, they say, like, respect your elders. I suppose they say that all over the world, but even though I'm quite old myself, that's my least favourite saying. And I suppose, if anything, I probably and biased in the other way around, like supporting younger people. So I guess that's one thing I probably wouldn't like about Asia or Africa, or I don't like about Asia and Africa, because I believe in like looking after the young people more. I suppose it depends what you mean by respect. I suppose you can learn from the elders and that kind of thing. But anyway, on that note, I am peace and love. I'm out. Sorry, and peace and love. Sorry.